Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Peggy Hubbard here with an installation of Talk. I hope you can join me today. It is Sunday, let me see, June, um, sorry, July. God, I forgot where I am. July uh, 15th. As you all know what's going on right now in Chicago, there is a full-scale riot situation that is taking place in Chicago. And people were asking me, Peggy, when you're going to make a video regarding this. I had to do some research, and what I found out, and I had to reach out to some people in Chicago that have boots on the ground. They're in the thick of it. What's happening is there was a barber who shot and killed. His nickname is Snoop. Um, there was an incident, and police were called, and apparently this individual drew a weapon and was getting ready to shoot. And the police told him, do not motion, put your hands up, do not motion, put your hands up. He motioned and actually had a gun on his person. I saw the videotape. I saw the police cam, which is inside the squad car. They caught everything on tape. Now, you remember Ferguson when they were saying that they wanted body cams for the police officers? Well, guess what? Body cams can also show you the other side of perspective of the argument that the so-called innocent individuals who are being brutalized by police. This person had on a gun, had a holster, and was drawing the weapon, and the videotape caught every last second, every last frame of the incident as it happened in real time. What do we do as black people? After we're shown the evidence, after we're shown that this man had a gun and we're hollering, he was unarmed, he was unarmed, he didn't have a gun. Videotape showed he had a gun. It was on his side, and he was also reaching for the weapon. He was drawing the weapon. His hand was on it. His shirt, he pulled it up, and he went for the weapon when the police told him do not reach for the weapon. And guess what Stupid did? Stupid reached for the weapon. Stupid fought the law won. Stupid got his ass shot off. Now we got another black man dead. Here it is in Chicago. This past weekend, Chicago had over, I believe, something like 60 people shot, 4 dead, and there's no protest. 2 years ago, Tayshawn Lee, whose father was a gang member, who was murdered in an alley, shot in the face, shot at least, they said, about 15 to 16 times. Little 8-year-old boy was killed. Was there a protest for Tayshawn Lee? No. So far, there have been at least 14 children shot and killed this year on the streets of Chicago, and yet you hear nothing about the mainstream media talking about those tragic deaths. You see nothing about the mothers that have to bury their children on the mainstream media. You hear none of this. But soon as a white cop shoots a black man, we want to lose our mind and we want to protest. But we as black people can shoot and kill our own, especially our children. And we want to stay silent. When we kill our own, we kill our children. Our babies are being buried. They don't say a word. But as soon as we shoot and kill our own, you hear nothing. The last protest, people tell me, Peggy, you're wrong on that. We had a protest last week. That protest was done by a white priest. There's no Black Lives Matter. When black on black, 6,000 people have been shot this year, and it's only July. When you have over 30 to 40 people shot in a weekend in Chicago, on the west side and the south side, black on black, you hear nothing about that. There's no protest. There's no outcry. But this black man was in the wrong. This black man, only thing he had to do was put his hands up and surrender. And what happened? Now he's dead. When I said in that very first video about the police and police brutality, these cops out here are not playing the game. Their objective is to go home at the end of the night. If you pull a gun on them, trust me, they're not going to wing you. They're going to kill you. And my grandmother used to say, you think fat meat ain't greasy? It's the truth. These cops are being pushed to the max. Very little pay, no recognition. And you pull a gun on a cop, you better get right with God. Too many of our black men, our black children, are so readily and so hell-bent on picking up a gun. They cannot handle conflict. They can't handle problem solving. We are too used to death. It's pretty bad when your city managers and your city administrators actually have to have refrigerated trucks at the city morgue because there's no place to put the bodies. I know a funeral director in Chicago. His average take-home salary at the end of the year is roughly about $160,000. That's what he clears on average. He told me this last year, he made over $587,000 on death. Let that sink in. A funeral director in Chicago made over $587,000. Death is profitable. Florist in Chicago clears on average $61,000. This year, a florist in Chicago, especially on the south side and the west side, they'll clear roughly about $197,000. Death is profitable. Majority of the caskets that are being shipped in this country by manufacturers are shipped to Chicago. They had an all-time record high starting from 2014 until today. Majority of those caskets are shipped that are made in this country are shipped to Chicago. How bad is that? Death should never be profitable. But it is in Chicago. This black man had a chance to put the gun down and live. He chose to pick that gun up and die. And we as black people, with the evidence staring us dead in the face, videotape being released, still pictures of the gun on his body, in a holster, being pulled from the holster, we still want to blame the police and not blame the individual. That has got to change America. Black America, wake the hell up. He is responsible and accountable for his own death, not the police. They were doing their job. They told you to stop, put your hands up, don't move, don't reach for anything, and yet he did it anyway. but we want to blame the police. We want to make them the villain. Their job is to protect and serve, not protect and die. At the end of the night, those cops are going to go home to their families. If you are stupid enough to reach for a gun when the police tell you not to reach for a gun, nice knowing you, boo-boo. Where you want me to send the flowers? Black America, you're embarrassing us. You're embarrassing our race. Everything that our ancestors fought for and strived for, you're destroying it. We want to be right in our wrongness. We want to sit up here and believe that these cops did something wrong. You asked for body cameras. You asked for transparency. They gave it to you. You see the evidence, just like everybody else in this country see the evidence that he's pulling a gun. He was not unarmed. And yet, you want to protest. If you are stupid enough to reach for a gun when the police tell you do not reach, then you need to be exactly where you are, 6 feet under. I hate to say that, but it's true. Our people. 260 people are dead in the city of Chicago, and it's only July. Over 6,000 people have been shot since January 1st, 2018, in the city of Chicago. Chicago, Illinois State, has the strictest gun laws there is in this country, but yet these fools get a hold of guns. Criminals do not care. This individual did not care. When the police tell you not to reach, and you do, you die. Simple. I've taken up enough of your time. This is Peggy Hubbard giving you the straight talk. Everyone be good. Be good to each other. Please share my YouTube page. Share this video. At some point, something has got to be done about Chicago. And I'm hoping and praying that our new president does something soon, because at this point, whatever is going on in Chicago is just not working. We want to give sanctuary to illegals, and we're steady putting our American citizens, especially our Black American citizens, in bodies bags. So that's a sad commentary. Everyone be good to each other. Take care. Talk to you soon.